laid a bit of thread down, get a piece of around 40-pound mono. You can use wire if you've got some mackerel floating around. Just start tying that in. Hook on the hook. Make sure that the nylon is underneath the hook. So I'll be tying this with one hook down, one hook up. Then you just keep your mono underneath. You do a couple of loose wraps back and then come back forward to tie in the whole lot of the mono. Rotary vise can be handy. I'm actually using one now, but I've really never used the things, so I'll just make it hard for myself. And keep tying close loops up to the point where the U of the mono is, and back again, a couple of turns just to tighten it up. You can at this stage put some crazy glue, some pieces of whatever you need on there, but I'd basically say that it's not needed. At this stage, I'll bring the hook up to where the higher the head's going to be. Grab some dubbing, just dub it loosely on the thread. What this does, it helps splay the feelers, tentacles out. So you just need like a bit of a lump of dubbing there, just so when you tie it in, it'll actually go around. I might put a little bit more on there. Sorry about my dog drinking next to me, but you know, these things happen. And just tie a bit more dubbing there. We've got the use the same material. Grab some rubber legs, put it around the thread halfway, close to what I'm bringing it up to the top of the body. First one, a bit of a model effect. Use these full length almost. Tie it down, so there's no way these will pull out. Tie them in. Tie them down with a few. Bring them up on top. Shorter tentacles there. In this case will be. And then grab the same. Just tie a couple. Tie those in. Loop it around. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit longer one side or the other. And put these on the bottom. Tie these down up to the dubbing. You can put more on the side if you like, but I usually find that that's enough to imitate tentacles, and they swim quite nicely. Very free, very free. So then we just tie up more, a little bit more with thread. Come back to about probably halfway from your where you tied your tentacles in to the eye of the hook. And for the main part of the head, I use this is what I call one of my secret stash dubbings. This is going to be too long for the finished fly, so I probably need about half that. So it's simple as just cutting in half. You don't need to straggle it or anything. You can a little bit if you like. That gives you part of your head. And what you do, you throw a loop. That's in loop dubbing. Tie that down. Bring your hook bottom back to there. Get your dubbing spinner. Put your dubbing spinner in. There's other videos on how to do that. And then carefully pick up your material. Place it in the thread. Give it 2 or 3 turns. Just let it rest against your bench. And grab another bit of the material about the same. Put it under. You want it reasonably heavy, as you're going to form yourself a core underneath that will make the dubbing flare out. Probably need a little bit more than that. A lot of the collar material into the dubbing loop. You'll end up with that kind of effect. Just give your dubbing loop a couple of turns. Make sure you've got it spaced up nicely. Give it a spin. Oops. Give it a couple of spins till the dubbing loop spinner starts lifting. Let go and pull tight. Sometimes your legs will come in, wrap up against your dubbing, which can be a pain, but they're pretty easy to tease out. They just pull out like that. Give it a decent pull. Keep twisting your dubbing so it gets right up into the top there. Pull again. You can see how it's twisted up right up near the head of the fly. Now this is going to be your tying point. You can use a bit of dubbing on the head if you like, but once this segment's finished, you'll see why you don't have to. You get a carding brush, just dog brush, pick it out, not too viciously. So just pick it out, then shorten the bobbin right up to the hook eye, shorten it right up, and start wrapping. As you're wrapping, straight back. Close turns is what you want here, because you want a bit of a ball to build up. Can get a bit tricky with the bobbin sometimes. Keep stroking back and turning. You see nearly at the end of the hook here, which is almost finished tying the head. So get the stage where you've got your body dub or your head dub there. Just 2, 3 over. Then I like to bring the thread back or the dubbing loop back and then wrap over the dubbing loop as well, coming back a fraction. And then you've got that basically. Push the thread out of the way and snip off the rest of the dubbing loop. Just grab the dog brush, just give it a light pluck out so you get some of the tangled, knotted threads out. So get that stage, then you can just push and feed them back, and you get quite a good representation of a squid head. So then don't worry about the little bits of fibres hanging out. Just wrap it down, 6 or 7 wraps, and then long throw Matarelli whip finisher, which I use on this fly. So just put the whip finisher in, make the 4, and slowly but surely up to about 5 or 6, and then just unwrap your thread, then you pull the hook out and pull tight. And pull it back out, sorry, first, then pull tight. And that's basically the tying of the head done. Just snip it off, stroke it back a bit, and we're ready for the eye. I use a soft UV resin. Chuck it on there. Doesn't need to be built up. I like the soft because it's got a bit of viscosity too, so it doesn't run that much. Of course it will run a bit down the bottom. So once you've got that on, slide your head back on. Just carefully slide it in place. Make sure it's straight on the eye. And then I've got a little spot UV tool. I just spot it at the moment. It just about kills the whole thing anyway. You see doing this, it actually the head ends up as one resin lot that becomes very, very strong. A little bit on the extra there. So then we've got the head part done. It's soft, so it will take a bit of movement. As I said, I hit it later on with the big light, just for the moment, just for this, just using the spotlight, which I used to put the eyes on. Now you've got the first part of your squid fly, the head, which is definitely the most difficult part to do. Hook for the head. For the tail or the body, I'll be using a 3/0, just a little bit bigger. Thread in, reasonably close wraps. This is mainly only to stop in the very unlikely circumstance of the material slipping. This helps stop anything slipping off. I've seen flies that actually you grab the tails, pull it, and the whole thing just slides back on the hook. Not good. You can glue it if you like. Put a bit of glue on the thread and tie it over, but I really don't see the need to do that. Then throw a rather reasonably long dubbing loop. You can see in my short video on dubbing how to do that. Wind the thread back up to the hook eye. Find your dubbing spinner again. It always disappears. Put your dubbing spinner in. Like such. Just let that hang a couple of turns. And let that hang against your bench. What comes next is the fun part. Depends on what side or how much distance you want between your head and your body. The first lot I put down is usually about the same length as the head material I used. You can do this in stages if you want. It doesn't have to be all done in one hit. So you put that in, give it 3 turns. This stuff's pretty long, so I should be able to get away with probably 3/4 of the material. Grab about that length, put it in between the threads for the dubbing loop, bring it up. We want it fairly well bunched together. This will give a ball under each turn that will help spread the materials. And grab one more lot. Threads wise, it's probably 80 or 90 threads. I have cut it about 2/3 length. As you can see, there's some offcuts there, but they can be definitely used other times with something else. Very rarely throw material away because it costs so much. I'll push that up, and usually if you're running closed loops with the dubbing material, the length of the dubbing you need is basically the length of the hook shank that you've got. So we've done that, we've put it in, we've got the materials like such. Give the dubbing spinner a spin. Wait till it starts lifting up. You can feel it actually lifting up. Pull tight and let go. I'll go back one step. So I forgot to tie it in, but even to this stage you can do it. So I grab the head I prepared before. Lay it on top of the hook. Probably the eyes want to be about 5mm past the hook bend. And honestly, you can double over, tie back, however you like to tie these on. But I always find just wrapping in like this is strong enough as to it won't pull out at all. You grab some bit heavier duty scissors, come up to your mono, snip them off. They'll be tied down later on when finishing, so snip those off. And then keep your mono on top of the hook. Just come back in loose wraps. It's easy if you do this step before you do the dubbing loop, but as you can see, if you forget, no dramas. Just tie it in, bring it back to the hook wire. Now we go to our dubbing loop. Give it another spin. Make sure it's nice and tight right down near the front. And just get your dog brush, pick it out a bit, top bottom side. Don't have to be too vicious with it. You don't want to lose all your dubbing into the dog brush. And what you do is you bring your bobbin up tight and start wrapping. So you do one wrap, stroke back, always stroking back. Do another wrap next to it. Another wrap next to that. 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 As you can see, I've shortchanged myself a bit with the dubbing. So what I have to do is bring it back, tie it off, bring it back, tie it off on itself. This is if you go short on the dubbing. Snip the old dubbing loop off and tie another one in. It's only a really short one, so just tie your next dubbing loop in. If you go the other way, you can easily just tie it down and cut it off later. You grab your spinner again. Place the spinner, give it a couple of turns, lean it up against your vise, get your bobbin out of the way. Now we get loop. Can be a bit tricky at times. And push it up, make it ball, give it a spin. 3. You'll feel the dubbing spinner pull up when it's tight enough. It'll come up towards your fingers. And then let go, pull tight, let go. And then give a few more spins just to make sure that it's tightened up right near the hook shank. Then I'll grab dog brush again, pluck it out. And then come back and do the same thing, shorten your bobbin up. Start wrapping, pushing back as you go, pushing back to get to the eye of the hook. And what you do is you swap your bobbin over, your dubbing loop, 3 turns, then pull the dubbing loop back towards the eye of the squid, and then tie that double loop that in. Then you can cut off your dubbing loop. Try not to cut your thread. Stroke it back. Give it a few more good thread wraps. And then what I do is grab the trusty old Mattarelli. About difficult. Yeah, wood finisher. Seven turns or so. Pull tight. Snip it off. touch of head cement on there, but I use the flat wax nylon that tends to do a good job holding everything in place. Just brush it all forward, just removing, bringing all the material out, and just stroke it back. I like to have the body just starting to cover around the eye a little bit, and you can see that it actually makes a good shape, good squid shape. So then you can snip around those loose threads, materials. I just use a lighter. It's a bit easier than cutting. You don't tend to lose as many threads. Just moving back with your hands, and you'll see that you've got one hook over, one hook under. I use this method because you've got a better chance of hooking a tail nipper with the back hook. So basically, that is how I tie the squid fly. Idea what it looks like when it's wet. Very squiddy. Nice pattern. Not difficult. If you want to have a look at the materials that I used, just jump over to flyfishing and flytying.com, and I can help you out there. Thanks for that.